morning, Jules here from Joolsedesigns at Tatty Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome all my new subscribers. So today what I want to do is, this is my little coffee shop journal. And it's one of those that sort of like the pages can sit like a waterfall. It's just the way I put them in. But today what I want to do is I want to put an envelope pocket here, but I want the flap of the envelope to fold over this way. And it's just we'd put the little index cards in this one when we did the index cards. And yeah, these kind of pockets balance out your journal. But I've got quite a few things that sort of like sit at the top. That one doesn't. That one doesn't. That one does. That's my stuffed pocket. Another pocket that opens up. And I think I'm just about finished this. I might have something else on. So what I want to do is I want to keep it in line with this. And yeah, I am covering the coffee cup, but we've still got all the little bits. So what I might do is put the journal there. So I'm using coffee dyed paper, and I want one that matches that. This is my own coffee dyed paper. So I think I've got that one. I've got some avocado dyed paper there. So it's one of these two. I think that one. So what I want is, I want the envelope to be probably, we'll see what this, yeah. So that's 3 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this pocket up by 3.5. Take it down a little bit. That's roughly about 3.5. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to not cut it off there. I'm just going to cut it off about 1/2 inch. And we'll use that later. And then what we'll do is we'll fold this in like that, and that's just under 1/2 inch. And what that is that gives more room in the pocket, because that'll be, that hinge there will stick. Now my page is 5 3/4. So probably what I'll do is I'll take it to the 1/2 mark. So I'm just marking it there with my nail, and then folding it over. And do it this way, Julie, do it this way. I'm just burnishing that down again, and fold it that way. I'm just burnishing the bits down. So when I open it up, I've got, you know, the 4 panels and then this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut into that, just a little bit above, and and then that's the bottom, and then I'm going to cut along this fold here, and I'm going to stick this down because this is the envelope flap. So I'm just going to use I'm going to take it up to that flap as well, because I'm folding that flap in, and all this does is it just gives the flap of the envelope just a little bit more strength. Just put a little bit of glue over that. So basically we're making an envelope, but instead of it sitting like you would normally, it's going to sit like that. And then I want a little bit of strength there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it down, probably about 1/2 inch. And just fold it down a little bit. And then fold it that way. And you can do this with magazine pages, digitals, scrapbook pages, whatever you want. And then we'll fold that down like that. You might need to trim this little bit off here and put a little bit of glue there. And what happens is that will sit there. I'm just going to trim that bit off there, and then we'll stick that down, and that's the envelope. So we'll have a look and see what it looks like, because I can always lift the flap. Yeah, so I think that flap, what I'm going to do is I'm going to round that flap off, and then there we've got an envelope for a tag or a journal card. You could put a long journal card in, but then I'm going to have a pocket behind here, so when I stick that down it will go that way, and then you can pop something in there. But what I want to do is I want to round this flap off, and I'm going to trim it down first. I'm going to take it down by about that much. So I'm just making a pencil line here. And I'm going to fold that and cut the two of them together. And then cut along that pencil line like that. And that to me looks a lot better. I might even shorten it a little bit more, I don't know. But I think what I want to do is I'm going to decorate it. I'm going to decorate it with book page and stencils, and maybe some stamps. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch around it. So I'm going to stitch round here and round there, so that when it's closed, in fact what I might do is I might stitch it round that way and then that way, because when I put book page on, I do like a border. Always have done. I don't know what it is about borders, I just love borders. So what I'll do is I'll go away, I'll come back in a few seconds and everything will be stitched. So I'll see you in a bit. Hi, that's me back. So there, I've stitched it. I did the wrong zigzag stitch there, but never mind. Just adds to it. And what I did do is I put a little bit of washi tape that I don't use on that side, because this is coffee paper and it's kind of just a little bit thicker than copier paper. It stitches better. So my glue stick hasn't stuck that down that great, so I'm gonna stick that down like that. I'm just making sure that this sticks down, so I'm just sticking any edges down that I've missed. And I've got a couple of different book pages. Can't get that's it. Couldn't get me pin in. Right, so I've got, but I think that's samey, so we won't use that. I've got some of that looks all right, and I've got some of this, and I quite like this, and it's quite thick book page, but I want the book page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim these off, but I'm going to do it with my ruler. And I want it inside the stitches. So I'm just going to take that down. If I have to take another bit off, that's fine, but I don't think I have to. And it's going to have a little bit of margin on it, but that's fine. And we'll keep those bits for labels and things. So there we are, we've got that bit. Here, I think what I will do is I'll just have right, so what I'm doing is I'm following the pattern around. I'm just putting it edge to edge. Oops, I've just thrown that little bit of coffee paper on the floor. Pick it up. And that needs to come up a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that round. That might be enough, it might not. We'll see. Not quite. So we'll take a bit more off. And again, I just fold it up. So that I get both sides exactly the same. That's perfect. And that can go there. Still not the greatest. And then what we might do is we might put a little bit of washi tape here. I've got some nice little bits of washi tape. But first of all, I'm going to ink around these. And I'm using, I was going to use Fryer Brown, but I'm not. I'm going to use the tea dye, but I'm just going with the and then what I think I'm going to do is put that on there. And I've got my, now I could do coffee shop, but that would cover it. So I don't think I'll do the coffee shop. I think I'm going to do the coffee beans. I'm going to do that coffee bean up that way. No, yeah, I'm going to do this coffee bean up this way. And this is Milo or Mylar or whatever. So I can get away with using my ink daubers. And this has got the ground espresso on. So it's a little bit darker than the tea dye. And then we'll do some coffee beans. And I'm just trying to avoid the... And obviously because I've not re-inked it, they're a little bit faded compared to the coffee beans that I've just done, which is what I'm looking for. Well, and there we are. Oh, and I like that. And these stencils I do myself. I design them on my scan and cut canvas and then cut them out with a scan and cut. So yeah, so I like that. And then what we want is we want this bit. We want to see what we can fit on here. Can we fit coffee on here? You watch, it won't be big enough. No, it's not big enough. No, it's not big enough, so we're not going to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some little coffee beans. So it'll just look like a little coffee sack type thing. Whatever a coffee sack type thing looks like. And you can turn your stencil round so that it matches what you're looking for. And we'll put a little coffee bean there. So yeah, and we've got some labels and things, so we'll do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this down. I am going to use art glitter glue. Not cute, especially for a coffee journal. And if you were doing any other type of journal, I mean, you could put flowers on for a you know, a botanical or whatever. So I'm going to look for some little circles, and I've got some here. I might put one of them on, I don't know. So I want some... I think these are a little bit too big. I think they're too big. I think they are. So where's my little... I'm just going to check the size of this. Yeah, I think that's more. So I want some cream card. And I did have some cream card yesterday. And I shoved it in the bin. So I want 4, preferably not. And we'll put, I'll need to do some little circles. And what I'm doing is I'm gluing these together. So 2 together, and that makes a nice thickness for doing your buttons. Now, I do want a pattern on them. Could we get a little coffee bean on them? part of a little coffee bean. If I make a mistake, I can always do it on the other side. So I think we'll have a little bit more. And then I'll just go around the edges with tea dye. And there we are. Got our nice little coffee bean bits. And go over it with tea dye. Got bits of thread and all sorts. And there we are. Shove that there. And then what I want to do is I need to do find the middle. So what I usually do, I've got them both together there, and my little pokey tool or an awl or whatever, and I kind of guess the middle. Now this is 4 pieces of card, so it is going to be a little bit tricky. So there we are. And it's bent a bit, but that's fine. And then what I want is I want some split pins. Well, that's what I call them. I've got some here, and I think the copper, yeah, the copper. Should I have a fat one? I'm just going to try. No, I've just got the little thin ones, and we'll put them to one side. And what I want is and what I'm going to use is I'm just going to use a wee micro pen just to do the dot. Whoop. And there we are. Put my lid on that. And poke a hole in there. Don't tell me I had that as a dot. That's not in the middle. It is. Didn't look as though it was in the middle. I think what's put me off is because the writing, I've got a border here. I'm easily confused. So then we put our and then just bend it over loosely, because obviously you want some space under there to put your thread, because obviously that's how you're going to fasten it. And this one in here. Now this one here I'm going to cover. I'm just making sure that I've got enough, and I'm just using a bit of this large washi tape. It is quite sticky. And just put that on there as well. I'm just loosely putting that over, then I'm going to push it down like that, not use that. My bone folder's on the floor as well, so I'm just going to burnish that down, and we'll push the ruler underneath just to stick that down like that. If you put the tape on, if you push it down that way, it's going to bend and wrinkle. And this one, I'm going to put a bit of masking tape on it. And there we are. There we have that. So now what we want to do is we want to stick it down. So and then just push out towards the glue that way. Now if you've put too much glue on this little flap in here, it might seep out. So the best thing to do there is just to put your ruler, shoved my ruler right through the glue there. Now if I wanted, I could stitch over that now, and I might still do that, might not. And there we are, and we've got a little bit of that poking out, so I'm just going to trim that off. Just on that side. And then what we want to do is we want to put it in our journal. But I think we'll put some labels on it first. So I've got lots of labels here, and I'll do this before we put anything on there. Right, I'm looking up here to see. Oh, we've got a long one. Oh, we've got the patisserie. Now you would have a patisserie with a coffee shop, wouldn't you? You would be going for a coffee and a pastry, so I think we'll have that. I think we'll have that one on there. And do we want a little diddly-do-dat? I don't know what a diddly-do-dat is, but whatever it is, it sounded good. I'm just looking, I should have some little tiny ones somewhere. There we are. We've got a little one there. Got a little one there. Some little tiny ones. Could we have a blue one? Nah. Could have that one. Now some of these are labels that are coming out in a freebie that I've just printed them out in paper. Right, we've got these. Are they just labels that need cutting out? Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this one on first, but I'm not going to stick it at the bottom because I'm going to pop that label underneath it. And we'll have that in the middle, not quite up to the edge of the and then this. And that will go just under there. That's just a bit too white for me, so I know we've got that one that's white, but don't want them all white. And this one I'm going to put down. This is book page. This is just when I've had strips of book page, I just stamp on them and I use them, and they, you know, they can act as fillers when you're doing stuff with book pages. Quite like it. That one, and we've got a do not discard. And I found these scissors the other day. I thought I'd give them away to my grandkids, but I hadn't. And they're for cutting corners, but they're good for like rounding ends. I don't know who they're by. I've had them, is that Olia? No, Folia. I've had them since my card making days. I bought them off one of the shopping channels. So it would be QVC probably. I think we'll have that one up there. And this one's got a tiny little grommet in it. Years ago when I bought my eyelet setter or silent setter, I bought a load of grommets, and again it would have been from QVC, and these are the tiniest things. They're like 1/8, and the inside is 1/2, so a 1/16. And I've never used them for ages, and then when I brought my silent setter back from Cyprus, I thought, oh, I'll do some of these. I haven't got a Scooby-Doo what I would put in them, but I think we've got some bits of thread that I took off the sewing machine, so I'll try and put a bit of thread through it. Do you know? It's like threading a needle. There we are. Okay, and then I'll put a little knot in there. want that on that one. No. I think we'll put that one that way actually. I was going about with them and just put the eyelet in it, and I thought, quite like that. It's got a little bit of thread hanging from it now. I think we'll have that there. This is the barcode. Okay. Do we want anything else? No, I don't want that one. Do we want this round one with number 14 on it? I think if we do a little bit, yeah, that's better. Can I lift that bit up there and shove that in before it? No. That's the only thing with that glitter glue. Once it sets, it sets. Stick that back down. So we'll put them labels back in there. Now I was going to put a little coffee sack on, because with the coffee journal you get little coffee sacks, and I think I will. I think I'll do the Congo Arabica coffee. Or should we do this one? No, I'm going to do this end one. I like the colour of this. And we'll do it like that. Okay. Just get rid of any white thread, any threads. I had threads on my mind because it was hanging off my thing, but it's any white lines. We'll just put that in there, and I'm just going to turn that round. And there we are. So now what we want is our, and I'm just going to use a little bit of thin jute, and I always tie it on the top so it's left over right, right over left. I know some people don't tie it. I don't. If I use lace, I'll just put the thread, but this is going in there, and then you just pull it and you can wrap it in a figure 8, or you can do it straight. And I think we'll just, that's it, we'll leave it like right. Our little Dora gets all excited when one of us comes in. You'd think she'd been left for years. She doesn't. Right, so I think I love that. Absolutely love that. And I can put my little tags there. If I wanted to, I could stick it down that way and have it so a tag would fit there. And if I even wanted to further, I could put another back on it and have a pocket there and a pocket there. And I think that's maybe it's a good idea. What do you reckon? Do you know what? I think we'll do that. And I'm going to stick that down there. I'm going to fold that over there, because obviously, because it's a pocket, I want it a little bit, want to give it a little bit support. Trim that little bit off. So this is another way of using your coffee dyed paper. So out of one A4 sheet coffee dyed paper, we've got an envelope and 2 pockets and a beautiful enhancement to your journal. And then this one gets done that way. All your different pockets, and I want the coffee beans showing at the bottom, so we've got a pocket there, we've got a pocket in there for my tag that I wanted to put in anyway. So these are the journal cards that we did, and they open up at the back and you've got plenty of journaling space. So we'll pop that in there like that. Now really put your things in your pockets once your glue's dried. That's probably the best thing to do. Cards here. So these are your library cards. So we can put that in there. Fasten that. Yeah, as I said, you can do figure 8 or you can go right the way around like that. You can put your library cards in the top end, and that doesn't interfere too much with your little coffee shop. So there you are. I've made another one for my dandelion journal by then. So I'll see you. Bye.